And I am live, although it's super sketch because StreamYard has a little like notification when there's a possibility that the internet's weak. You know, it gives you the weak internet signal. So the weak internet signal has been off and on. We're having another snowstorm here again. So for those of you who haven't been following the diary that is my movie watch-alongs in the middle of the night, I'm currently bouncing around doing some research on some things, and I'm staying at a hotel during a snowstorm. The hotel is next to a ski resort. So the other night we watched Frozen, about the people who were trapped on the ski lift, not the people who, not Disney's Frozen. Damn you, Pixar. Um, and then the next night we watched, of course, The Shining, because I'm in a hotel during a snowstorm. So what the heck else are you going to do? So since I'm in a hotel and I'm trapped inside, I thought Motel Hell, right? Right. So Motel Hell is currently playing on Tubi. Oh, by the way, I'm Don. Hello, welcome to my middle of the night insomniac fest, where I watch movies because basically that's what I do to keep me company, and I'm dragging you into it. That's how dysfunction works. My problems are your problems. So welcome to those watching, and welcome to people listening on the podcast. As I've mentioned before, suddenly the podcast for this version on YouTube is growing. So hello to all of you. I try not to leave you folks out. Um, as I was saying, Motel Hell is playing on Tubi tonight. So we're going to have commercials. Their presentation apparently is somewhere around an hour and 40 minutes. I'm getting ready to get started here in just a couple of minutes. And where I'm doing it at 1:35 roughly Central Time, which means it'll wrap up at like 2:10, 3:10, about quarter after 3 my time. So that's peak hours for me, insomniac night owl guy. Unfortunately, a lot of my audience is all over the world, and I have a lot of East Coasters. So I'm sorry to keep you guys up till 4. I know a bunch of you aren't going to make it till the end, but it's nice if you drop by and say hello, like a lot of you do. So I'm going to get started on Motel Hell here in a second. I brought up some Motel Hell info we can get to, and I can give you guys better. Um, I know you love it when I do research and you have to listen to it. That's the best part. That's my favorite part of the show, that and technical difficulties. Oh, as I was saying, also while I'm researching here, there are currently a big snowstorm going on outside once again. There's roughly 2 to 3 inches before tomorrow, or sometime by noon tomorrow. And then we're going to get hit with another blast on Friday, I think. So yeah, it just kind of keeps piling up out here. So since I'm trapped inside and watching can't go anywhere, I thought we'd watch Motel Hell. But the point is, the snowstorm last night knocked out the stream a couple of times. StreamYard keeps the stream going whether I'm here or not, which is kind of awesome. It just freezes me for a second, then it might go black, but it keeps it running. So if I disappear, I apologize. I'll be back as soon as weather permits. But otherwise, I'm going to see what we can find with Motel Hell here to give you guys for some. We're getting started. It came out in 1980. Rory Calhoun, I mean the guy's name, he's the star. He plays the old cowboy that runs this motel in the middle of nowhere. We'll talk about plot as it goes. And then it's also got Nancy Parsons, I believe. That's the woman from Porky's, the Miss Ballbricker or whatever her name is, I think. For those of you watching or who pop in the chat, actually, I'll wait till a few more gets here. Yeah, I see the internet, weak internet signal every now and then pops on. So this could be a wild ride, kids. Motel Hell was in 1980. I saw it probably. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and start the movie, and we'll talk about it as it goes, because I am worried about us getting shut down by Mother Nature. So I'm watching it on Tubi. I've already gone past the first commercial. I'm going to press play, and I'm at the MGM Lion Roar right now. I first saw this when I was, a little kid. This was on TV, which was like a predecessor to cable. On TV was, a box that you turned on, and it got one movie channel. So this was one of the big on TV hits, right? So I was watching this when I was probably 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old. I don't know, 1980. So yeah, I probably was maybe even six. Geesh. So the joke of the movie is that this is a motel in the middle of nowhere, on a countryside road, a kind of place you just pull over, like basically like Psycho, it's just a side, small motel, roadside inn kind of deal. And it's Motel Hello, right? But the O keeps blinking off and on, so it's Motel Hell. But, it's Oh, I forgot Wolfman Jack is in this. Oh no, I'm gonna have to do a Wolfman Jack impersonation and hurt my throat. Oh, yeah, guys, this could be bad. That guy's name is Dick Curtis. um, so the movie starts out and they're in Motel Hello, and we see Rory Calhoun is the star of this. He's like an old school cowboy movie guy. He was real popular in black and white cowboy movies. I think he was maybe on a TV show or two. I don't know. Well, I suppose we could probably find out, right? Let's give the man his props. I'm sorry, Rory Calhoun. Let's see what old we got. He lived from 1922 to 1999, so he's a champ. He starred in over 80 films and over 1,000 television episodes. So yeah, I think he did a little TV. He was in 1993. His last role was in Tales from the Crypt. So if you need to know how awesome that guy is, that's all you need to know. He was in the Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He was in Hell Comes to Frogtown. He was in Avenging Angel. He was in an episode of Heart to Heart. He was on an episode of Sheriff Lobo. He's in Motel Hell. He was in Revenge of Bigfoot, Hawaii Five-0, Fantasy Island, Starsky and Hutch. Night of the Lepus, that's where I know him from. If you've ever seen that, that's a crazy movie too, with the giant rabbits that attack a farm. Let's see, he was in Dayton's Devils. I've never heard of that. Good show. Gilligan's Island, I Spy, Rawhide, Gunsmoke, Wagon Train. Yeah, I know he was a cowboy actor. I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, I am. But The Virginian, Bonanza, Dick Powell Theater. I don't know what that means. The Secret of Monte Cristo. Apollo Creed was the Count of Monte Fisto. It's one of my favorite nicknames in movie history. If I'm a little quiet or a little loud at any point, I don't know what. I don't even know how many people are watching. How many people are watching? None? One? Probably just me. Now, if anybody is having trouble hearing, or they need me to speak up, or they need me to adjust the microphone, we can do all sorts of things. But at this point, I just want to give Roy Calhoun his props. Damn, there's a lot of cowboy movies in the world. He was in Massacre River. He was in Adventure Island. He was in Nob Hill. He was in Alaska. He was in Sunday Dinner for a Soldier. His first movie was in 1944. Yeesh. And now nobody's watching. Whenever I point out that somebody's watching, the numbers always go down. It makes me laugh. People don't like to know that I can tell how many people are watching. It's funny to me. Let me see here. So we see Roy Calhoun out in the creepy ass woods with his pickup truck. This is all like very fear of the South. People have they don't like the country, especially city folk. They don't relate to the people. They think they're different. People in general have kind of they think the people other than them are weird. That's sort of a rule of life. So a lot of folks, don't like people in the South. I find a lot of them to be nice, although some of them creepily nice. And that's where this is. It's like, yeah, Roy Calhoun he's totally a sweetheart. But at the same time, if you told me he was kidnapping people and cutting them up into make fritters, I'd believe you. I'm trying to make sure nobody said any dialogue yet, so I haven't verified that the captions are on. So, yeah, the first time I saw this when I was a little kid, and this has this kind of a famous scene where a bunch of bodies are buried in the sand or in the dirt, like food or like vegetables, and they have bags over their heads, so it's like cabbage, like out here when the cabbage grows and there's a frost. Oh goodness, Anthony Chabot, how are you doing, buddy? You're still working on your memoirs. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember you working on them last night and the night before too. Or you're not over typing, man. Don't get that carpal tunnel. But I appreciate you dropping by. Let me put Anthony up on the screen here. Yeah, I appreciate you dropping by, my friend. Move that light a little harsh on my face. But yeah, the first time I saw this, it was very sort of traumatic because this is the first time I learned about cutting someone's vocal cords. So as a child, I was like, "What? They can just like make you stop talking?" So yeah, this and there's Mrs. Ballbricker. Oh goodness, I believe that's Nancy Parsons. Let me double check. Yes, that is Nancy Parsons. She was born in Lake Minnetonka, Minnesota, so she's purified. She had two siblings, Mary Jean and Teresa May. This is a funny IMDb. She was in Porky's, Sudden Impact. Let me see. Hold on. Here's a bunch. Let me get them all. She has 47 acting credits. She started out in 1976 in Beretta. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. She was in Lou Grant, Charlie's Angels, Rockford Files, Where the Buffalo Roam. If you've never seen Where the Buffalo Roam, check that out. That's a Hunter S. Thompson. So the same character that Johnny Depp plays in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Well, not the character who he's doing the portrayal of as a man and he did a pretty spot on portrayal actually. Bill Murray played him originally in a movie. So Where the Buffalo Roam is the first Hunter S. Thompson movie. It's a bit disjointed, but it's cool to see Bill Murray play that role. So after Where the Buffalo Roam, she did Motel Hell, Ida Smith, and then she did Porky's, Pennies from Heaven, Remington Steele, Porky's 2 the Next Day, Sudden Impact, Family Ties, Porky's Revenge. I forgot there was a third Porky's movie. Oof. Or didn't I? Is that the one with the zombies? Well, the whatever. I'm not trying to talk about Porky's. Hardcastle McCormick, Night Court, Moonlighting. So she got a good prestigious Star Trek Next Generation. Death Falls, Wishman, L.A. Law. And then she quit acting in 1998. She passed away in 2001. So good for you, Nancy Parsons. You had a good career. Here's a blatant ripoff of The Shining going on the screen. This came out, I don't know, I thought, yeah, it came out in 1980, so it's basically the same time as The Shining, but you can tell they got their influence. Here's two little girls who are the same age and same look. I think they might even be twins, and they're wearing the little like doily dress kind of thing, except it's red, not baby blue. This movie, trigger warning for those of you who are bothered by animal violence. I know a lot of folks are. This has a lot of like slaughterhouse type stuff. Like there's a guy with a pig mask at the end with a chainsaw, and like right now they're walking through a slaughterhouse and they're looking at a bunch of sausages and meat hanging up and stuff. So I'm assuming if you're a horror fan, you're cool with this. You understand things are fake. But yeah, now the little Shining girls are being terrorized by the Hog Man. Oh my goodness, let's see here. Anthony says he's going to see the Iron Claw tomorrow. Awesome. Yeah, let me know how that is. Make sure you live stream of Iron Claw review this weekend. All right, see, there you go. I was going to ask, and you just jumped right ahead. Attaboy, I like it. Brian is here. Hello, Brian. That's my guy. He likes to show up and keep us company here. Nice to see you, sir. It's good to have you. We are watching Motel Hell. I don't know if you've ever seen that one before. Rockford Files was created by Stephen J. Cannell. It was. Well, I didn't know that, but I know he created a lot of really popular TV. You'll have to forgive me. I got a bottle of water here for the scratchy voice. It's because of the cold air and all the snow and everything, it's super dry out. So, and I've already threatened to do a Scatman Carruthers impersonation. Oh no, I'm sorry. Scatman Carruthers was last night. That's how this voice kind of got like that. It was Wolfman Jack. Pardon me. That's $5 fine. So here we see Roy Calhoun on his tractor, and he's got kind of a country bumpkin look to him, which is, his deceiving charm. It's he's sort of an early version of R. Lee Ermey, except not as scary. He's got more of a chiseled jaw. Actually, you could see when he was young, he was like a handsome debonair actor. His old pictures and stuff. Brian says, yes, he saw Motel Hell years ago. Yes, our friend Brian's Horror Masks. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I do follow that account. Yeah, I was gonna say Brian jumps accounts a lot, so I got to be careful. The other night when he popped up, I wasn't even totally sure it was him. Anthony says he could play Stephen J. Cannell in a biopic of his. I don't think I've ever seen Stephen J. Cannell before, so he must be a handsome devil if you could play him. Pinch your little cheek. So now the sheriff is coming out to this motel. The way this motel is set up, it's very similar to Tourist Trap, if you've ever seen that. It's also a little bit like the beginning of Devil's Rejects. House of a Thousand Corpses. When they first go into Captain Spaulding's hotel, it's ever since Psycho, that's like one of the go-to horror places, because you're out of your element and you're uneasy and you don't have the comfort of home. If someone comes to chase you, the directions you run in. I think that's one of the things we were talking about with The Shining last night is the big, huge hallways and just being out of your element. Let's see. Anthony says, I saw a couple of episodes of Echo. It was awesome. I wanted to check out Echo. I'd never heard of it. I kind of vaguely remember the character. That was right at the end of when I quit reading comics. But yeah, I might have to give that one a watch. I'll see what the reviews are. I know you're a tough critic. You'll give me the lowdown. Cinephile Sanity, good evening. I love Motel Hell. Of course, Sean does. Hello, Sean. Welcome, my friend. It's a wild, crazy one, isn't it? Right now, the sheriff has shown up. I'm at the 1344 mark of the movie. The sheriff has shown up for the first time, and the woman in the hotel is being told that I believe her brother is missing. And later on, he turns up in a fun way. And May Ann is here. Sean says that the second half isn't as good, but the first half, but there's still some really appealing stuff about it. Yeah, I was talking about the iconic image of the pig head chainsaw guy. Like, that's pretty wild, man. And then also the stuff with the people buried like cabbages with the bags over their head. Like, that's some crazy imagery. Like, it's surrealistic and horror. It's wild. Our friend Mayanne is here, the Forever Queen. Hello, Mayanne. Let me see here. Man's mad because I'm live when she's going to sleep. Don't worry, the baby will be up in a little bit. You'll have to get up and hang out with me. I'll be here. Brian says his dad's favorite show was The Rockford Files. I watched The Rockford Files when I was a kid a lot. It was on late at night. I think The Rockford Files was the first time I ever learned what an answering machine was. People are saying hello to each other. And of course, now it's Jim is here. Awesome. I love when Jim comes by. You're up already for work, dude? Man, this is tough. Motel Hell was first VHF you ever owned. Wow, that's awesome. I tricked my blind grandmother into buying it for me. I told her it was a Disney movie. Oh, Jim, you are a terrible and I love you for it. That's awesome. I'll see you in hell, my friend. And he says, yes, good morning, everyone. So you are up. Wow, buddy. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. And I like that you start your day with me and coffee. Are you a coffee drinker? I'm not a coffee drinker. I drink 5-hour energy. That's much healthier. No, I just don't like, first thing when I wake up, I'm too sensitive for hot coffee. I need something chill when I wake up. Anthony says Mayan is his favorite horror YouTuber. That's a good choice. I don't know who mine is. Mine is, I don't know. I'll let you guys know at the end of the show. Mayan says that's too sweet. And now everybody's welcoming each other. It's nice to see my people drop by. Sean says, thank you for stopping the channel earlier for the last holiday, 23. That's telling that to Jim. Jim is a awesome member of the horror community, and he tears us, pulls us all together. Oh goodness, who was it? I believe it was Hobbs got a package from Jim one time, and there's a video for it. And he put a bunch of the people from the horror community's little avatars all over the package. Like he must have printed them out and taped them on, or made stickers or whatever. It was the coolest thing. So go on Hobbs Horror. Most likely you're there. Like there were, Jim, how many were there? Like 30, 40, 50 people on there. It was wild. I was going crazy at all the faces. I saw Jamie Hart and a bunch of people. It was cool. Jim's having a huge cup of coffee right now. Mayanne is going to bed. You need to go to sleep. All right. Thank you, man, for poking your head. No, it isn't a stream without you here. And she says good night. So good night to everyone, including the podcast audience. Brian says that's too funny. He fooled his parents too and got them to buy horror movie Fun House. I told them it was about an amusement park and they bought it for me. Oh man, I don't think I ever tricked my parents. Like my parents openly were cool with me watching Motel Hell when I was a small child. And The Shining I watched last night. That was one I saw as a little kid. And basically, they were more like most parents. They were like, cover your eyes during the nudity, but anything else, it's just like, yeah, it's fine. Sean says Motel is surprisingly a fun watch, but not everyone is into it. Some people love it, some people hate it. Yeah, it's a wild one. It takes a lot of fritters to make what's his name? Something Vincent's fritters. Uncle Vincent fritters, maybe. Good night, man. Yeah, everybody's saying good night to Mayan because she kicks all the ass. Yeah, man, we love having you here. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi to everybody. Yeah, like I say, the people buried up to their necks and having their vocal cords slit so they can't scream, and they have the bags over their head. It just, like, as a little kid, it sort of disturbed me. And then, yeah, Pigman Chainsaw at the end is something else. So now we're back at the motel. We see the girl whose brother, I believe it is missing, and she's crying on the she's basically hanging out with the owners. I don't know, maybe it's her man. And now she's like basically questioning like why she's trapped there, and she's basically living there because she doesn't know where else to go. So they're feeding her and taking care of her and being sweet to her and all this. The motel is real, like old brick cobblestone looking, so it has like a 70s almost funky smell to it. Like it looks like it smells like mildew. So they're taking advantage of the fact she's all alone. And he explains that nobody's really alone. Yeah, Nancy Parsons is super creepy, but she's very good in this. Yeah, as I recall, like, hold on, we'll go with it as we watch. No reason to jump ahead. So he explains to her, a life weird. It takes you in a lot of different twists and turns. And now you're here at this motel and you can hang out with us as long as you need to and don't worry about it. And she's like, yeah, you're right, man. Typical kind of late 70s hippie, easy rider, freewheeling, where the day takes you kind of chick. I like her spirit. And she's like, yeah, thanks for being kind to me and saving my life. So they're setting her up, right? Jim points out Nancy is Ida and Beulah Ballbricker is iconic. Yeah, that's what I was pointing out with Porky's. That's what I first think of her as immediately. Porky's also has the iconic scene where the guy puts his manhood through a glory hole in the shower, and she grabs onto it and from the other side like she caught a fish or something. She's pulling on it real hard. That's almost as traumatizing as the people buried up to their neck with the bags over their heads. So we get the Motel Hell gag again. He goes out and watches the sheriff drive off. Jim says he believes this is John Ratzenberger's first film as well. Yeah, I didn't know that. I remember he has an uncredited cameo in Empire Strikes Back, I think maybe. For those of you who don't know, John Ratzenberger was Cliff on Cheers, and he was oh boy, what Toy Story character is he? Somebody will tell me. Is he maybe the Tyrannosaurus Rex? Maybe he's one of them voices. I can't remember who it is. But he's one of the Toy Story characters. He's got a big bushy mustache, deep voice. So now here's kind of another. I don't know, it reminds me of The Shining. He's climbing over this wall that's covered in hedgerow stuff, and this is where he discovers the garden around back. Hey, Kyle, welcome. That's nice of you to drop by, man. It's cool that you're up. This is my friend Kyle from Fletz Movies and Pop Culture 13. Kyle, you've been killing it. You've been doing lots of good interviews and stuff. I've seen you've been cranking out the videos. So, yeah, if you guys haven't caught up on Kyle's recent stuff, or if you're new to Kyle, be sure to get over to his channel and check that out. Kyle's always got good stuff going on. He's a cool dude into cool stuff, so he's a fun guy to hang out with. Let's see here. Mr. Cero, Echo Cero, that is. The Pacific Northwest Geek is here. That's my man. All right, so now he's in the garden. Sorry, Echo, it's one of my favorite parts. They're in the garden, and they see this wiggling thing with a bag over it. And he's like, what in the front? And he slowly creeps up on it, and he's kind of like hearing this weird moaning and stuff. And he goes to pull the burlap sack off. Like I said, out here, they grow like cabbage and other things. And when there's an early frost, or like someday it's really cold, or especially in the spring and stuff, they go out and they cover up the stuff to keep the frost from getting to it. So seeing a field full of bags isn't totally weird to me. And there it is. Yeah, they rip it off, and we see this dude like just screaming, buried like a plant. He looks like a talking potato or something. And Kyle says he's the pig in Toy Story. Thank you. I appreciate. I knew somebody would have my back on that. I was like, I thought he was Mr. Potato Head. And I'm like, no, I think that's Don Rickles. Echo says man is going to have nightmares about clowns and doll girls. Flet says hello, Echo. Brian says, do I have any sort of horror masks, like a Michael Myers or Jason mask? And I'm collecting that type of stuff. A bit. Obviously, nothing like you guys got, but I have a Jason mask that I made. My guy, Professor Macabro, did a series where he bought these like cheap dollar store hockey masks that you can buy like anywhere, and they have them always at Halloween time. You see them around, you can buy them for decoration. They're always super cheap. I have a glow-in-the-dark one, I think. And he went through and shaped them up and made them look like the different Jason masks from the different movies. I have one of those, and I did the exact same thing. There's a video where I talk about what kind of Friday the 13th stuff I own. It's on my channel, and you can see that mask there. Otherwise, I have like a werewolf mask. I have a Michael Myers mask, but I believe it's the Rob Zombie Michael Myers mask, though, so it was a cheap one. I have 2 or 3 Batman masks. I have a Scream mask. I have the ghost face, and then I have the gold ghost face. So yeah, I have a fair amount of masks. I mainly just keep them, like right after Halloween, there's always masks on sale, dirt cheap. So I go through them and get them. I have a gorilla mask, of course. Collection would be good without a gorilla mask. Echo says he used to have a steelbook for Motel Hell, but he didn't like the movie, so you gave it away. What didn't you like about it, Echo? Give us a counterpoint here, buddy. And Jim says, if you didn't like this, you can get out. And you know what, Echo, I love you, but he's right. Get out. No, tell me why you didn't like it. I'd like to know. We'll tell the audience. So hang in there for Echo's review of Motel Hell. Cracky has only clowns. Oh no, Jim, you have an only clowns? Times are tough, brother. I understand how it is. I bet those big red feet do well on Wiki Feet, though, huh? Jim's laughing. Oh, good. We're starting Jim off he's starting his day off with a laugh. So back to the movie. I'm currently at the 26:51 mark. They basically, the guy was, he figured out that there was the bags, that the people with the buried in the ground, that they're kidnapping people and holding them hostage and letting them marinate in the dirt. It takes a lot of critters to make old boy Vincent's fritters. Let me see what else. Here. Brian says, that's cool. I like the Jason Voorhees hockey mask. Yeah, I know you do. How many do you have besides the Michael Myers and the Jason Voorhees masks? Obviously, you have that really cool one with the. Brian has a video where he shows there's a hood that you put on, so you get like Jason's full big head and everything, and it fits over your shoulders, and you can tuck it into a shirt, and it looks way more realistic and natural and crazy. And then you can put the hockey mask over it, so it's like a 2-piecer. But it's really cool to see. That's pretty much how they do it for the movie. So now Nancy Parsons and Roy Calhoun are out in the middle of the nowhere with the. Oh wow! They got 1, 2, 3, 4 new victims to bury in the dirt and make fritters out of here. And it's funny, they're like the stereotypical. There was like a biker guy, and there was like a hippie. Like you could see the. So she opens up the gate. And she's walking in. What's going on here? They're really milking this. That's a good thing about horror movies. They have to get their run times right. So she's got the lights on, and we see the first real good look at their crop of people they got growing there. She's talking to her plants and lovingly taking care of them. Jim says, only clowns and Clonder pay the rent. So now she pulls the bag off of dude we saw earlier with the slit throat. And we see that they cut the vocal cords and then they stitch it back up so their victims can't yell while they're buried in the ground. And then it heals back up. So she's checking the wound. So dude just is sort of trapped in the ground, gurgling. And he tries to like bite at her and stuff. It's It's a crazy horror movie moment. It's funny. This is a movie they should remake. Like people always talk about how you remake, bad movies, not classics. This is one that I think, I mean, there's many people out there who, with being vegan and no meat lifestyle and pescatarian and all this stuff. It seems like there's folks out there who would be into, kind of this sort of anti-meat message, but I think most of them probably couldn't watch the slaughterhouse stuff, so your audience is conflicted, right? So now there we see old buddy who discovered the field has now been added to the collection of heads buried in the ground. I think he's some sort of like detective or insurance guy, I believe. And my first ad. The thing I like about Tubi is, man, we watched The Shining last night on Sling Free Movies Plus or whatever the hell it's called. And that's the only place The Shining is. So this is number one, a reminder how awesome owning your own physical media is. Because there's been so many times now where I decide I want to watch a movie and it's not on Netflix, Max, whatever, Prime, Tubi. It's not on any of them. And it's like, well, how can there be so many channels and it's not out there? So physical media has saved my butt a bunch of times. Since I'm traveling right now, I'm sort of stuck using whatever streaming. But believe you me, my several thousand movies in storage till I get them a home is something I'm very grateful I never gave away or sold off or whatever. Let me see. Brian says he found a Michael Myers 13 mask done by Nick Melpagano. There, when I was 13, I made him and have the 12th one he did. He gave Nick Castle the number 1 mask. Awesome. That's super cool. So now she's it's funny they use the dynamic is the older man and then the bigger, stronger woman. So the woman, Nancy Parsons, Miss Ballbricker, she's the one who does the lifting. So she's carrying the bodies off the truck and stuff. So now there's John Ratzenberger. There you go. You're right. Good call, Jim. Nice call. Yeah, he's got like a goatee. He looks like kind of a biker gang kind of guy. He's got a dog collar around his neck. So yeah, maybe he's into some other stuff besides being a biker. And then here's like a new wave guy with the big, like, he looks like Robert Smith from The Cure, kind of. I think that's Christian Bale. It's not really, but. So yeah, now they got the people all buried up to their necks. It kind of reminds me of Creepshow. If you ever saw the original Creepshow, where they bury the people in the sand and the waves come in and wash them away. It's kind of that same imagery, just these people buried in the ground, feet first, 6 feet deep, but just their head popping out or whatever, And Jim's mad at those punk rockers. He's shaking his fist at them, and I don't blame him. Mm-hmm. Why is he wearing a dog collar, right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, I guess he's probably, I mean, maybe they found him at a gimp bar, or maybe he was, I don't really know what bikers dressed like at that time. It seems like if he was, maybe they found him at like a Village People bar. What's it called? The Blue Oyster Club or whatever, from Police Academy. Jim says he finds the sounds of the gurgling of the planted people is the most disturbing for me. Yeah, that as a little kid, that tripped me out really bad, that they would have their throats slit. So they were trapped there, but they couldn't scream out either. So they just had to like sit, nothing you can do. They're just trapped there. So now we see the process. They're like slitting dude's throat with a scalpel. And then we know later on they cut out their vocal cords and then they sew it back up. And we see the stitches in one scene. It's really kind of gross. And we cut to a daytime scene. And they're talking about how good the fritters are and how the flavors can't be beat. Well, Farmer Vincent's meats are only distributed within a 100-mile radius. That way I can keep the high quality and cost reasonable. Gareth is here. Morning, Gareth. Of course, we have to mention Video Tasties. We have yet to have an episode on this show where Gareth has not been mentioned. So thank you, my friend, for reminding me. And there's Echo. Gareth, have you ever seen Motel Hell? I figure you have. I'm waiting on Echo's review. He said he didn't like Motel Hell. I was wondering where you sat on it. Jim's a fan, I believe, and Sean's a fan. So right now it's 3-1 against Echo. Are they in a graveyard? So basically they're trying to get this girl who's been abandoned after old dude got murdered. They're trying to, like, I don't know if they're hooking him up or what, but the town sheriff and her are now kind of getting sweet on each other. Her dude's only been dead a minute. Jim says he's a super fan. Hell yeah. You got to admit, though, like, as far as horror t-shirts go, like a Motel Hell one is a good one. Like, everybody has Exorcist and Freddy and Jason. Like, Motel Hell's a deep cut. Like, one time I was out at a grocery store and there was a dude wearing a Return of the Living Dead t-shirt. Like, I almost wanted to go talk to him. Like, look, we'd clearly be friends. Hello. Hi, I'm Don. Oh, Gareth wasn't a fan. Or how can you be not a fan? Oh, my goodness. You know what? I bet it just didn't translate to over there. That's why. The fear of the South isn't there as much. I don't know. I'm trying to make excuses for my friend. Was it disturbing, Gareth, or you just you found it too bumpkin or just poorly made? I'd like input in these people who don't like this, but we're at 3-2 now. So as you can see, it's divided. Let's on IMDb, it is a 6 out of 10, and my rating is exactly a 6 out of 10. Let me see here. My favorite part of the show is when you guys listen to me do research. That's my favorite part too. It is a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is that the audience or the critic? I believe that's the critic. 67% critic, 52% audience. So another rare one where the critics liked this more than the audience, because it's very highbrow. You have to be smart to understand this. It's for thinky people, see? No, it's kind of the original Hostel almost, sort of. It's got a lot of that same vibe to it, like except this reveals its hand way too early. Like, I feel like they probably should have left like a bunch of mystery, so you're constantly confused, like what's going on with those people in the bags and all this. You know, you kind of get what's going on pretty quick. So yeah, 67%, that's fresh, and then 52%, that's not. Critics' consensus is it's eerie and satirical. Motel Hell has no vacancy when it comes to lowbrow horror gags. You sons of bitches. I need to find them. They all owe me $1. Let's look at the questions on Google. The first question is Motel Hell based on a true story? Let's see what they say. Despite its satirical bent, Kevin Conner's mordant and mortifying horror comedy Motel Hell is based on the true story of German cannibal Karl Denke. The film follows Vincent, Roy Calhoun, a psychopathic farmer who kidnaps motorists and feeds their remains to his unwitting motel guests. The next question is, where did they film Motel Hell? Santa Clarita. California, and also Moore Park, California. What hotel horror movie is based on a true story? Parasite. 1408 is the answer. That's crazy. They mixed that in. All right, enough of you and your silliness. So now back in the actual movie. This appears to be where the sheriff and the newly abandoned girl at the motel are out to like Inspiration Point kind of area here. Maybe this is where they found John Ratzenberger. Maybe he was he had the dog collar on. He was out kicking it. Martin Renner says he loves this film. 9 out of 10. Gareth says he wasn't a fan, but now he needs to rewatch. All right, Gareth, I appreciate you're giving it another chance. No, it's a movie that's pretty, like a lot of these low budget ones. I think if you fall in love with them when they come out when you're young, these older ones, like I mentioned Tourist Trap earlier. Tourist Trap's another one that's divided. It's a lot like this. There are people who love it and think it's like the best horror movie ever made, but then there are other people like it's slow paced and it's kind of a bunch of movies do what they're trying to do better. And I don't know. I'm a fan of Tourist Trap because I saw it when I was young. Yeah, Martin Renner says he loves it. 9 out of 10. So right now we're at 5 and to 2, but it's kind of an undecided 2. Brian says, am I going to be watching the NFL playoffs this weekend? I am. My Packers, I'm a fan of the local team, the Green Bay Packers. So my Packers are playing the Cowboys on Sunday. I imagine they'll lose, but you never can tell. You know, there's a reason they play the game. We're at a commercial here. Yeah, I believe there's probably games on Saturday as well. So if we're supposed to have a big snowstorm, we're having one right now. We're getting another 2 or 3 inches out there, but the internet seems to be hanging in there. So attaboy. Once this snow passes, then we're supposed to get another one like a night or 2 away. And then we're supposed to get cold. So the likelihood that I'm just going to be sitting here watching stuff is real great. I bought a big cozy blanket in from outside, and I think I'm just going to open the curtains and sit and watch the snow and watch movies and TV. So to answer your question, my lazy ass will be watching the football playoffs. Who you looking for, Brian? You let's see, you're out in what, New Hampshire? Are you a Bills fan? I'm trying to think of who you'd be going for in the playoffs. If this is the opportunity for people listening to put in the comments below, who's your team you're rooting for this weekend? Who you got? The funny thing is, I've discovered movie fans aren't usually football fans or sports fans in general. Like there isn't a huge crossover of like true movie geeks. Like they don't really love sports, but sports fans all love movies, or at least most of them do. It's weird. Like I think most sports fans are just into pop culture in general, so they keep their pulse. They kind of pay attention to what's going on in the world around them. But I think a lot of movie fans are like they find. Let's be honest, a lot of movie fans are nerds and they don't like jocks. All right, I luckily am both, so I enjoy most sports movies and I enjoy the playoffs. But football's been weird this year. At least nobody died this season yet. So now we have these 2 women in the car. That's what I'm kind of like entranced by. We're back at the movie. There was an ad break. But these 2 girls are in the car. They're, they're fun, like, early 80s party chicks. They're cool. So the one's got a gun, so don't worry. Brian says he lives in New Hampshire and the Patriots are our team, but I grew up watching the Cowboys since 1980, so the Cowboys are his squad. Okay, yeah, I knew the Patriots weren't in the playoffs. That's why I thought you might be a Patriot guy, but yeah, me and you are going to be rooting against each other, buddy. On Sunday, speaking of Sunday, after the football game, if you want to see if I'm depressed or elated after my team won or lost, um, I am supposedly going to maybe be doing a watch along of something as yet undetermined with our friend, the horror cat dad. Larry has Monday off, so he's going to hang out with me, and we're going to watch something on Sunday after the game. So I'll probably have one or two beers during the game, so that ought to be a spirited live stream. I could be depressed and just angry and drunk. That's not going to happen. So now we see the sheriff like totally horn dog creeping on the girl out here at Inspiration Point. He puts his arm around her and cops a feel and gives her the look, and she's not having any of it. She just flat out tells him, please don't, okay? And then he takes his arm off around her and then tries to kiss her, and she sort of smash, and he's into it. So, of course, they're illustrating that the sheriff is a bad guy, and she's fighting him off. But he stops. He relents. He's a police officer. Yeah, right. It's funny. Every single horror channel that I watch absolutely hates the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, Horror Cat Dad is anti-Cowboys. He lives down there, so he has Cowboy fans. I believe his team is the 49ers. So now Roy Calhoun is bumping the car of the two 80s party chicks. I like them, though. I'm rooting for them. They're the first character in this movie besides old girl who got abandoned at the hotel who I'm rooting for. Everybody else is a villain. Well, of course, I'm rooting for Ida and Vincent, but that's a different kind of rooting. I'm rooting for them to keep it interesting. And this is all real death proof right here, like him trying to run them off the road and they're screaming and crying. And now the sheriff gets the call that these women are in trouble, and he comes to the rescue. So yeah, he runs them off the road with his big red truck. And the sheriff and the abandoned at the motel girl are actually, let me find out what her character name is. I need to quit being such a broad generalist about these broads. No, she's Terry. That's her name, of course. And then the sheriff's name is Bruce. Don't bring me down. So the sheriff, Bruce and Terry, they see the farmer Vincent and Ida pulling away, but they don't get a good look at them. So the mystery is on their end is already up and running. One of the things that Quentin Tarantino talked about when he does mystery is how you can either look at it from a lot of different ways, like either the audience knows what's going on, they're ahead of the people in the movie, or the audience is behind the people in the movie. So this is obviously an instance where we're ahead of the people in the movie. We know what's going on, but they don't. So our feelings towards them and their actions is coming from a place of knowledge. As we're, like I said, I think they should have made this more of a mystery where, like, we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like the people in the movie know what's going on, but we don't. We're trying to piece it together. So it's easy to sit in judgment of the character's actions when we know what's going on and they don't. So for all you aspiring writers out there, keep that in mind. Let me see here. Cinematographer in Motel Hell is so lush. It doesn't look cheap. I directed Donna Wilkes a couple years back in a horror comedy inspired by, and she was surprised by that. Yeah, I don't think I don't think there's any cheapness to it. Like the just there was a shot of the motel in back, and they light it with the red neon lighting. And like here, there's a cool shot. They're doing the eye line lighting, where it's a dark shot, but someone off screen is holding a flashlight, so you get that like perfect band of light across the eyes, so we can see a character in dark room. Um, like, yeah, as you mentioned, and I'm looking at, just even right now, the first shot I look at is an impressive, well composed shot. And right there, they've got the pillars of the room on the rule of thirds. Yeah, it's just a well shot movie for sure. Roy Calhoun made this. Yeah. Um, yeah, Roy Calhoun is like I was pointing out, he's sort of a handsome leading man type early in his career, and then he moves into the cowboy roles. So for him to sort of settle into these horror movies, like with this and Night of the Lepus and stuff, I mean, I'm sure he's just doing what he has to do to make a paycheck. But I always look at that as being cool, And I'm sure at the time he probably felt like, he's just doing what he has to do to keep his SAG card and all that. But later on, the horror community sprouted up and let people know it was an awesome choice they made. So now some new guests are arriving at the motel, I should say, a motor lodge. There's a taxidermied armadillo, which is a good name for your punk band. So now they're explaining off the CB radio call they got of them getting help is just some kids making prank phone calls out on the CB and everything. So they're just gonna kind of brush it off. So the sheriff totally tried to. Okay, there. I thought she was gonna kiss him goodnight, but yeah, she is. He's covered in mud, but he basically tries to like molest her to get this whole thing started. He didn't go full on assault, but you see he's a creep. But now he's got to be kind of our hero character for a while. It's a tough one to root for. Brian says he likes Motel Hell. Yeah, I agree. But like I say, it's a strange movie. So when people say that they don't like it, it's got a lot of I believe it's even listed as a horror comedy on Tubi. In the description in Rotten Tomatoes, they said it has a lot of gags in it and stuff. It is a very darkly comic movie. That's why I said there's like certain undertones of like veganism and anti-meat eating stuff in it, and there's a couple of the iconic imagery, like I said, the bags on the head, and then at the end when we get to Chainsaw Pigman. But yeah, I don't know if the viewers or the listeners on the podcast, hi guys, take a drink every time I say hello to the podcast people. And we're going to get a commercial. Sorry, I was distracted. It was the Lumidee lady. Are you guys familiar with the Lumidee lady? The lotion that makes you not smell. It's like a water-based lotion. And she talks about all the places that you can put it. And she's like armpits, butt crack, underboob, crotch. We just met, lady. Can you not? Brian wants to know what's the difference between a motel and a hotel. I'm not totally sure of this. I'm sure we can Google it and find out in like 1 second. But as I understand it, a motel is you enter from the outside, like how in Psycho, you have the key and you go outside and they have a bunch of the doors outside. Like that's a motor lodge, I think, as where a hotel is like an inn, like you go inside and you stay in and it's like a big building. I don't know. We'll find out right now. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Motels are a kind of hotel. The word motel is a blend of motor and hotel, and it typically implies a roadside inn hotel in which the doors of the rooms can be entered from the outside. In contrast, hotel rooms are typically entered from inside the building. Motels are often less expensive and have fewer accommodations than hotels. Yeah, it's about what I thought. Um, there's a real cool motor lodge I was looking at. It's a few, I don't know, probably about an hour away. They have like the theme rooms in there, so you can tell it's like a sex dungeon kind of place. And literally, one of the rooms is a sex dungeon. Like it's a straight dungeon, and they got like chains and stuff on the walls. Two of the rooms are like spaceship rooms. One of the rooms is a jungle room. There's a hot air balloon room. There's a oh god. But I was looking at them. Each room has, at least the big suites, all have a hot tub. So I just imagine like there just has to be semen everywhere. Like the black light go through that room must be brutal. But this motor lodge is near a bunch of spooky stuff in the area, and I was thinking about going and doing a venture to check out investigate some of the spooky stuff in the area, and then stay at the fun motor lodge while I'm there. Speaking of fun motor lodge, yeah, now we see Wolfman Jack on the TV, Reverend Billy. So his cameo is that he's a televangelist. Wolfman Jack, for those of you who don't know, was a 1970s radio DJ. His voice was like this, baby. He talked all crazy, and he had like a big beard and a haircut. He basically looked like me, and he talked like this all the time, daddy. Like he was like a crazy professional wrestling manager almost. But he was a pop culture icon like for a minute. I think he even had a late night TV show called like Wolfman Jack's Midnight Hour or something like that. But yeah, he was real popular in the late 70s and early 80s. So here he is playing Brother Billy. When we got back from the commercial, the lady was doing the typical S&M hotel stuff. Her and her man that pulled up and arrived at the hotel to do freaky stuff. She's got a whip and he's got panties on and stuff. So they're going for it. Brian says, thanks for explaining that. I never knew what the difference is. Yeah, like the way I remember is Psycho. That's what I think of. It's like if you pull up and you have to park outside and go in. I think motels are generally more seedy because you don't have to see anybody. You can come and go from the outside, so it's a good place to have an affair. But if a hotel, you have to like go in and the people can see you. At least that's what I think. It doesn't have to be an affair. Some people like to do drugs, and some people like to murder people. There's all sorts of stuff you can do in a motel. Brian says Wolfman Jack was awesome. Yeah, he was a crazy character. He must have been a cartoon voice, right? Let's find out Wolfman Jack's IMDb. I guarantee you he had done voiceover work. Like I say, Daddy, he was all scratchy voiced. I think he had a movie. Oh yeah, he was in American Graffiti. He was in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Motel Hell. He has 28 credits. Wolfman Jack was in, starting in 1971, he was in 7 Minutes, and then American Graffiti. That's like what a lot of people know him from. He was on The Odd Couple. He had the Wolfman Jack Show, which was, doesn't say how many episodes. I think that's actually the first place I saw him. It was on in 1976. No, I would have been too young for that. Maybe I saw reruns. What's Happening? He did an episode of. He was in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. He was in an episode of Wonder Woman, More American Graffiti. He was the opening narrator of The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang. I believe was a cartoon based on Happy Days and the Fonz. Yeah, he was Reverend Billy in Motel Hell. He was the Midnight Hour. Yep, damn, I nailed it. That was 1985. That's why I know. Okay, yeah, that would have been way more my wheelhouse. He was the voice in Garfield in Paradise. So there you go. Did do voiceover work. He was in a movie called Rags to Riches. He was in The Return of Bruno, the Bruce Willis character who sings. So there was a movie about Bruce Willis's singing character, Bruno, The Return of, and Wolfman Jack was in that. Awesome. Good credit, Wolfman. He was in Mortuary Academy as Bernie Berkowitz. He was in The New Gidget. He was in a movie called, he was in a video game called DJ Boy in 1989. That makes sense. He was in the Swamp Thing TV show. He was in Garfield and Friends TV show in 1994. And then he did an episode of Married with Children. So there you go. There's the Wolfman Jack filmography. Shout out to him, baby. So back to the movie. The sheriff and Terry and Bruce, they're kind of starting to unravel the mystery of what's going on with the disappearing people, and we can tell they're on the verge of having happened to them what happened to that insurance guy or whatever he was who got his throat slit and ended up in the ground. So now she's gone into this butcher shed. What do you even call it? I wouldn't even know. Out back, they have a shed where they are hanging up meat and stuff. Slaughterhouse, I guess, yeah, but it's more of a shed. So, and we see they have like a deli slicer and all this. She's basically setting up all the horror stuff that can happen. She's fascinated by the deli slicer, aren't we all? You ever go someplace and they slice your meat fresh for you? It's way more exciting than when just someone picks it up and takes paper off it. Brian Mass said he was in More American Graffiti. Hotels are good for affairs. Yes. Thank you, Brian. Yeah. I remember when he was on the radio as a kid living in California. Yeah. Like I say, I do remember him on radio. I just think he had that signature voice people knew. We don't talk about Bruno. Yeah, I noticed as soon as I mentioned Bruce Willis's character Bruno, literally like 2 viewers left. Sorry, you guys. Shh, no more discussing Bruno. So Terry was stumbling around the slaughterhouse in back, and she was about to stumble onto a foot in a big vat of blood and gore and gup, and this is a crazy juxtaposition. We see the bloody foot in like this soup, and then there's all these sausages hanging up. It's just way gross. It's like a scene from Saw. Did you ever see Saw? When I was a kid, we called it teeter-tottering. Thank you. That's an original joke by me. The PayPal and the Cash App or Venmo are on my page. You go ahead and just send the money there. So Terry was about to discover what's going on inside the slaughterhouse, and Ida popped up and caught her and kind of like ushered her away, and then took her tubing. And now Ida and Terry are frolicking around in the lake, and it's like a sweet, cute moment, even though we know she's an evil cannibal murderer. Jim says, yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. So this is a sweet scene with the two of them, because it's really good horror stuff. Like they're both in the lake together, and Ida's like staring at her with like these creepy eyes and this like just, geesh. Terry's wearing the white T-shirt in the tube, so yeah, they're doing the sex appeal thing there. We see Ida's got a box cutter, and we don't know what she's up to, and we're kind of worried for a second that she might go over and do something to Terry, who's clearly going to be like our final girl. But instead, Ida cuts her own tube and sinks into the water. And then when Terry comes over to help her, Ida starts like pulling her under the water and like attempting to kind of drown her. So now we're getting this like splashing around water scene and these like underwater shots, which are really kind of cool. Like Martin was saying, the cinematography is great. Thank you for hanging out, Martin. By the way, I appreciate that. I don't know if this is your first chat time in the chat, but welcome. So now Vincent shows up and stops Ida from killing Terry, and he swims her back to shore and revives her. So we kind of get that he's keeping her alive, even though Ida's ready to bump her off and add her to the fritter collection. Let's see what else we got here. Um, yes, John Ratzenberg's character's name is Drummer. That's a fun fact. So I guess maybe that's why he was wearing the dog collar around his neck. He's a drummer in some sort of band. The IMDb More Like This section claims that Intruder, Tourist Trap, that was my guess, Basket Case. If you haven't seen Basket Case, check out Bilal. Maniac, the original, The Burning, The Stuff, The Prowler, and The Funhouse. So there you go, Funhouse callback. My Bloody Valentine, Pieces, and Frankenhooker. Yeah, I guess with the head sewn back on, I suppose I could see that connection. All right, good for them. So here, Terry says, Vincent, kiss me. She's like, she's basically attracted to his father figure type of character, and she's happy that he saved her. And she pulls the covers off her, and she's trying to seduce Vincent. And he's trying to cover back up, and she doesn't understand. And then he explains to her, we should be married first. And her face is like, I beg your pardon. So she says, are you proposing to me? So now this, I don't know, 25-year-old woman and this 70-year-old man are slowly developing their nuptials. And she says, you know what? I'd like to be alone for a while. And Vincent leaves and she covers up, sexually frustrated. And now here's Wolfman Jack as Reverend Billy. He's got the white suit on. He looks like Brother Love from 1980s wrestling. We can see Grainville Eucharistic Church. Eurekaistic, I think that is. Eurekaistic. Yeah, we see the town. There's a big silo and a grain silo. Here's a hornball sheriff, Bruce, looking at Playboy instead of working. And then Wolfman Jack, Brother Billy, goes and explains to the sheriff, hey, buddy, your lady friend is marrying Vincent. And he's like, what? So, yeah, that's what you get for trying to sexually assault her on the first date. I think that's a lesson to men everywhere. And Brother Billy confiscates the Hustler magazine from Bruce. Yeah, I didn't realize that Wolfman Jack had so much of an on-screen presence in this. I knew he was on the TV, but I didn't realize that he was making it happen. So now Bruce is very upset that that old man is going to marry that young woman, and he goes using his illegal police powers to go peeling out. Martin Runner says it's 9:30 in New Zealand, and saw Martin saw Motel Hell and had to join. Well, thank you, Martin. Like I said, I'm glad you're here, man. I appreciate it. You're clearly incredibly knowledgeable. So yes, welcome. It's and welcome from New Zealand. I think you might be my first Kiwi. I don't know. Is that an offensive term to you guys? But no, I appreciate you being here, Martin. Past Case was a crazy movie. Pieces was cool too. Yeah, that section where they show um, the other movies like that, I'm always fascinated by. Um, wow. So now, okay, Bruce goes busting into Terry's room, and she's in the bathtub, and he knocks down the door, and she's laying in the tub. So she went from being like this, like sweet, kind of like demure, just movie, um, final girl. Like there's nothing about her sexy or whatever. Like you feel sorry for her. And then suddenly she's got the wet T-shirt. Then she's topless. Now she's topless again. It's like she just the movie, the tone of her character changed. She has like an arc. I'm confused by it. You usually don't see it in horror movies. Um, Jim points out this is classic Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, where she's being held captive or being trapped in the motel with Vincent. And I think when Vincent saves her life, that kind of like really pushes it over the top for her being into him, because as soon as she's alone with him the first time, she's like all over him. So yeah, it seems to me like it's they're really manipulating and figuring it out. But see, I think we're supposed to be on the side of Bruce the sheriff. Like how you gonna hook up with this old dude and all this? But he comes off as the jerk. Like we know what Vincent's up to, but if you didn't know what Vincent was up to, he seems like a perfectly decent guy. He's just a bit older. He looks like Colonel Sanders a little bit. Oh man, he put a shotgun in the guts of Bruce and told him, "Get the hell out of this woman." Let me see here. Comment. Jim says, if it only actually worked that easy. Not that I've tried any of it, of course. And Mr. Bones is here. A whole lot of critters go into Farmer Vincent's fritters. Exactly. Welcome, Mr. Bones, my friend. Uh, Mr. Bones is a late night rider. So we're at the 106.52 mark. Um, uh, Bruce has just found out that Ida is going to marry Vincent, and he went to try to talk some sense into her. But like I said, Bruce is more of an ass. I'm kind of on. I'm for Vincent. I mean, yes, he's an evil cannibal chef, but he's a gentleman. I'm trying to think of things to make Vincent sound decent. Give me a break. Um, okay, and Martin says Kiwi's not offensive. And he was also going to mention the Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, they're really getting in the head of poor Terry here. Jim says, "Mr. Bones." Yeah, here's the party hat scene where they all have the party hats on. That's a good call, Martin. Um, yeah, they all have like they're celebrating the upcoming wedding, and they're drinking champagne, and they got little party hats on. They're blowing the party horns. Oh yeah, this isn't a wild adventure. Um, Bones says, "Meat's meat, meat. Man's got to eat." Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Uh, Bones is a late night rider. You should go to bed. Should I review, Mark? Let's see here. So now Ida is kind of cock blocking Vincent and Terry from making out there. Ida's all done up. She's got like little curls going. She got her hair, got the party bow. She's ready to. Yeah, just the cinematography is great, Martin. You really did. It's not your usual low budget cheap horror. It's just every shot has really great composition to it. Like right now, there's a shot of Ida that's like split in half, where there's a fan behind her and stuff. Um, and there she passes out from the drugged champagne I got her to drink. Terry, you in trouble, girl. So now Bruce is really determined, since he's had his woman stolen. Well, it's not his woman. He's a damn creep. But what he thinks is his woman. Uh, got his woman stolen. And he's out doing investigating now. Only when he's been Only when he's been wronged in love does he actually do some actual police work. Do your job, Bruce. So now Bruce has found that motorcycle? Yeah, right? Yeah, so he's piecing together that folks are missing. Damn it, Bruce. Do your job. Bruce is one of the all-time incompetent sheriffs, and I'm having trouble rooting for him. Brian says, "What time do I usually cash out? What time do I wake up?" Um, I have a weird sort of natural condition where my body just does not like daylight. So most of the time I have to adjust my life around whatever job I have at the time or whatever I'm doing. But right now I'm basically on vacation. I'm working for myself doing some stuff. But so with that case, my usual time is to go to sleep for probably around 5-ish, and then I'll wake up around noon or 1, um, depending on when I actually fall asleep. The hotel here has free breakfast in the morning. So sometimes if I'm up all night, I'll have the free breakfast, but then I have to stay awake for a few hours after that. So those days I don't get to sleep till like 7 or 8. So basically, I try to sleep in the morning time for sure. The sun in midday is just brutal. It drains me and exhausts me. But while the moon's out, I'm wide awake. I've tried sleeping pills, kava kava. Really, the saddest thing, the best thing that works is the gummies. But in general, I usually just if I have my pick of when I can sleep, it will be 5 a.m. to about 1 or 2. So here's John Ratzenberger being hypnotized, and he's hypnotizing the weird. This one guy's got like a fake beard on, and it's terrible. Like every time they cut to him, you can see like the spirit gum in the HD. I'm sure the original transfer, the beard was fine in the theater or whatever, but yeah, it's terrible. So we see that he's got a radical hypno high, he calls it. He's using like this mesmerizing kind of light show to hypnotize the people that he's got buried in the back there. And we see him just totally losing their minds, and he's getting in their head about astral projection and shit. So yeah, he's straight hypnotizing them. Okay, so Jim says it's official. He's putting his pants on and headed out for the workday. Thank you, Jim. I will have a good night day. You have a good day at work, my friend. I appreciate when you start your mornings with us. I hope that cup of coffee settled just right. Yeah, Martin says the fake bearded guy. Ratzenberger's goatee is really kind of weird too, but it looks way more natural. Um, so now we see that they're totally hypnotized as he puts the nooses around their necks. And then we see where the nooses are attached to, and we kind of realize what's going to happen. They're all tripping balls. I'm kind of losing it here. I've been hypnotized. Put a noose around my neck. I have my head pulled off real quick. So here, Vincent and Ida are being like mission control. They're talking in a space launch jargon. And we're counting down from 10, 3, 2, 1. And she pulls the tractors and just starts yanking on their heads. And we see the ground holding them in as the heads get pulled. And it doesn't work. It snaps all their necks. Every time I watch this, I expect at least one of their heads to come off. Sorry, I was mesmerized by the murders going on the screen. Hypnotize is a good Biggie song. It is a good Biggie song. You're right. Thank you. That's I think you're onto something there, Bones. Brian says, that's interesting. I usually crash out around 4 or 5 a.m. and sleep till noon. Yeah, I sort of, um, I live where, we get pretty rough winters like you do. And I noticed the daylight hours of winter is when my body really is the most kind of tired, like while the sun's up during winter. So kind of that like 7 a.m. to like 4 p.m. Like that's the time when I'm at my most tired. But then when it's dark, I'm like wide awake. Just something about the moon. So there they snap their necks and they're pulling all the bodies out of the ground so they can go make fritters out of them. And everybody's saying good night to Jim. Good night, Jim. You are awesome, my friend. Bones says, Boglins. I agree, Boglins. Bones, where do you live? Are you? I know it's somewhere in the South. What is it? I mean, I understand you're probably in the witness protection program for the crimes you've committed and whatnot, but I don't know. I always imagine Texas, but I've never actually figured it out. Hobbs is here. Hello, Hobbs Horror. Hazy shade of winter. Look around. Bones says that's because I'm an owl. Exactly. I'm nocturnal. I like owl much better than raccoon. Although I'm a bit too like that. Yeah, Brian's like that too. Martin says he wonder if John Ratzenberger disowned this after Cheers. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see because I don't know how stuffy or pretentious he is, but yeah, I believe didn't you say that this was his first role? So a lot of times people are pretty forgiving of their first roles. And shout out to the internet tonight. The storm is still raging outside. I can see out the window over there that the snow is blowing heavily around, but we haven't had any stream freezes tonight. Looks like we're going to make it till the end. Speaking of that, we are currently at the 116 mark, and there is 116:46, and there's an hour and 40 minutes. So we're roughly the last 20 minutes here. God damn it. Damn it. I bumped the home button instead of the play. Okay, good. So Motel came right back on. Thank you. Good job, Tubi. Tubi gets a gold star for saving my place. Bone says he lives where Hobbs live. You live in Ohio? Or did Hobbs move to Texas? He also lives in the Boneyard. Duh. Yeah. Please tell me Bones and Hobbs live together. That would be, I want that sitcom. Who do I talk to about getting that sitcom? Can you guys vlog that? Martin says snow. You guys don't ever get snow in New Zealand? I would assume not because it's where you're located in position to the earth and the sun. But I'm always amazed at the places that get snow. Yeah, we're getting bombarded with the snow here, Martin. We had 5 or 6 inches 2 days ago, and then today it was relatively chill, pardon the pun. And then now we got another 2 to 3 inches coming, and then we're going to get hit later. So yeah, I'm trapped at the Overlook. That's why we're watching Motel Hell, since I'm trapped in my lodging. I'm hoping to be turned into a fritter. Bone says, not together. He's married and he has a lady too. No, I don't need you guys to like have a relationship. I'm just saying I need a sitcom with the two of you in the same house. That's the comedy I'm looking for. That's what I need. Your lady friends can be there too. That's fine. That actually flushes out the cast. Brian, from Brian's Horror Masks. If you're not familiar with Hobbs Horror, I recommend you check him out. Hobbs also had van life going on for a while, and I learned a bunch of stuff about being on the road from him. So yeah, you two might relate. Maddie and I looked into doing motel hotel thing too, but way too expensive here in New Hampshire. It's like 135. Oh yeah, see, um, I found a flat rate place that you can get by the week or by the month. So the daily place, the best way to go is through the apps on the phone. They'll knock off 20 or 30 bucks on those damn apps. Um, but otherwise, yeah, try to find. The reason I'm here is I saw we were going to have snow and ice for basically the next couple weeks, and I have a little teeny Nissan that I've been bopping around in because it gets awesome gas mileage, but it's terrible on these country roads during the snow. So I decided to hunker down and be safe before I go out and bop around and go on more adventures. Um, like I said, the other night I settled over by a ski resort, so I was sort of expecting snow, I guess. Snow in June, July. Ah, the world's upside down, but only on the South Island. Okay, gotcha. Um, well, yeah, you stay warm, Brian. You and Addie, you guys make sure to snuggle up. All right, that's doctor's orders. Yeah, Mr. Moses, come and knock on our door. So, yeah, see, they understand. That would be a great sitcom. The Horror Family. It's like a modern day Munsters kind of thing. The Midnight Hour, the Boneyard, with the Bone Hour. The Bone Hour. There you go. I'm sure there'll be no confusion in the marketplace over that name. Martin says Three's Company was quality TV, and I am in agreement. Uh, there can be debate over whether or not Motel Hell is good, but there is no debate over whether or not Jack Tripper is quality television. The cheapest motel we could find in our area renting monthly was oh dear lord, that's brutal. No, no, yeah, around here I've you can, I mean, depending on bed bugs or not, obviously that's the defining characteristic. Or around here you can find cheap ones, basically, trouble motels. But the place I ended up settling in was yeah, well under 100 a night, and it has a hot tub and a pool and a friggin' breakfast and all that. Yeah, no bed bugs or nothing. So it's the difference between that part of the country and this part of the country. No one wants to be in Wisconsin, so it's cheaper. But like I say, those damn apps, they will save you 30 bucks a night or so on a damn hotel room, as long as it isn't Saturday or Friday. So any y'all watching or listening or in a position where you need to crash somewhere, yeah, be sure to check into Expedia and all those different travel lodge apps. The place I'm at, I use all the time. It's Choice Hotels. There's like 10 or 15 different hotels under their umbrella. So when I see a Choice Hotel, I know I have points and parking and all that crap. She knows how to eat. She's just going to town and she's like putting hot sauce on the chicken wing, and she's got whipped cream all over her dessert. She's going for it. Whoa. We're 40 minutes from Boston, and that's where most people work, so the prices up here are expensive. Yeah, I understand. The East Coast is bad all over the place. In the New England area, it's a very they price people out because they try to. It's a snobby way of getting rid of the poor folk. If you make stuff expensive, poor people won't live there. So a lot of the New England fancier pants areas, they do what they can to keep the prices high to keep people out. And then I understand Florida is going through a big migration right now because of the no state tax. People are trying to secure residences in Florida, and because of that, the property and the rent and everything is just going through the roof there. You would think it'd be doing that for Texas, but Texas is so huge. So there, Bruce tried to sneak in, and Ida punched him in the chest with the 1 inch chest punch, and then she pulled the gun on Terry, and she's like, "We're going to teach you a lesson and the finer points of meat smoking." Wow, that's a good capture. If you need a screen capture to post somewhere, I'm going to teach you the finer lessons of meat smoking. Mr. Bones says, shred, shred, shred. Skate or die. So now Ida's captured Terry and has the gun at her. Um, I always think it's weird when people in horror movies have guns because everything is such a, like a slasher or ghosts or whatever. So when you see someone like use a gun in a horror movie, it always, I don't know, it feels like it's cheating. Like horror movies need to be more hands-on. Like a gun is like for an action movie. It's horror movies need to be up close. So now the fritter people have escaped, and they're working their way back to Motel Hell, and it's almost like this zombie scene, and they're all staggering up towards the house, and they're gurgling, and they're like fog lit behind them. It's an awesome shot. Brian said, that's exactly what they do here in my area. They price people out for sure. That's yeah, what do you call it, gentrification or whatever. They just basically act like, well, hey, go get another place to live. It's like finding another place is a pain in the ass, man. But like I said, I mentioned before, I'm glad you and Addie found each other. It's good to be teams. Mr. Bones says, Shaka bra. Mr. Bones lives a rad lifestyle. Out of all my friends, he's the most rad. Like if anybody's like Poochie on The Simpsons, it's Bones. Like he's probably riding a half pipe while we're talking. Bones says, "Have I seen Mountaintop Motel Massacre? I have not. Is that a newer one or an older one? Let me look it up." That is a 1983 horror crime movie. A mentally unstable. Let me hold on. A young woman is caught worshiping Satan by her mother in their remote motel, who kills her. Believing the ghost of her daughter is instructing her, the killer mother then decides to try to kill everyone who is staying at the motel that night. No, but where has it been all my life? It's on Tubi? Oh, shit. Adding it to the queue right now. Wait a minute, maybe I have seen this. As soon as I see that woman, it looks familiar. All right, add it to my list. Good pull. Good pull, Bones. You're the man. Bones says, I'm Cray. I am Cray, dog. It's old. The art puts me in the mind of Motel Hell. Yeah. Actually, the lady on the front looks like Ida. Yeah, I might need to check that out. That description sounds wild. That might be one like I said, apparently I'm getting ready to be half snowed in here. So, with the actual movie I'm watching right now, Terry's been captured and she's now been turned over to Vincent, who's got her in the slaughterhouse. And he's kind of, giving exposition and talking to her and explaining the plot for the people who don't understand what's going on, that he's been turning people into fritters. And she's disgusted. She can't believe she was going to marry this old coot. But he talks about how much, flavor you get. And I understand. So, but we know that the gurgle-throated half zombie people are on their way to get him. So the climax is coming. The tension is building. Bones and I are the OGs. We've been on the tube talking horror since we were the kids back on 2015. You are that. Well, I respect the midnight hour boggling community. They're getting old. We are all old. We're all getting older, Hobbs. That's how it works, my friend. We'll be all right. Hobbs says that Mountaintop is fun for sure. So yeah, okay, we're gonna have to go check out Mountaintop Hotel Horror, Hotel Hell, whatever. I added it to the Tubi list. I think they use the same filling locations, maybe. Filing locations. That's why. There we go. In the brain, I was going to say, what do you mean filling locations? We used to make videos with our digital cameras. Oh, I didn't know you guys were friends like back that older. Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah, I thought you guys maybe met on here or something. Or maybe you did. You've just been OG friends for so long. Well, Bones, where's your accent from? That's not an Ohio accent, is it? It gets cool as hell. Out of all my friends, you need to do cartoon work. Like, out of everybody on YouTube, if any of y'all should do voiceover, it's Bones. I would watch a cartoon with the voice of Bones. Bones says friggin' fritters. Brian says he's 51. I am 49. I'm going to be 50 in July. Took me a minute to remember. I find once I got to around age 40, I legitimately kind of quit paying attention or caring what my birthday was. Like, up until 40, like it mattered to me, but then it was just like early 40s, late 40s, early 50s, back half of my life. Mr. Bone says he's in Ohio. And you've never lived anywhere else. You're not trying to run from the law, are you? You just have a naturally cool voice. I'm jealous as hell. Hobbs was always confused what type of fritters they were making people into because there are multiple types of fritters you can make. Yeah, I've never really heard of meat fritters, but I guess it's like a meat pie kind of deal, like, I think of a fritter like an apple fritter or whatever, where you take like just a clump of dough and you deep fry it with like some sugar and it's got little whatever bits in it. But yeah, they're making meat fritters. I'm assuming maybe they do the same type of thing. You make like some chunks of meat mixed into the thing and you deep fry it. I don't know. But in my mind, I always imagine like a meat pie kind of deal. So now here, is this Ratzenberger? No, okay, it's a different one. Maybe it's Ratzenberger. I can't tell. No, it's a different guy. One of the people who'd been held hostage in the dirt and they all escaped. He busted through the skylight and now he's attacking him with the gurgly voice. And he's taking the fight to Rory Calhoun, and we see the two of them. Vincent and the gurgle guy are just fighting away in the slaughterhouse and they're banging the light around and it's like flailing and the meat is moving and there's all this crazy red light. It's just like super hellish and wild. We'll get back to the chat in a second. The proverbial poop hit the fan here. So Vincent chokes out the attacker. Yeah, there's all this great like fog machine stuff they're doing. It's really well made. Visually, it looks great. Ohio-born, running from the law as well. Attaboy, Hobbs. That's what I like. You're the first person out here I've heard you saying I have an accent. Really? To me, you sound like you live in like Georgia or Alabama or something. But you also have a bit of a scratchy voice. That's why I thought. Like I say, you got the coolest voice out of all of us. If anybody here is going to do cartoon voices or voiceover work, I want it to be Bones. But then again, I'm on a lot of heavy medication. I'm usually either drunk or high or something. So give me a break, Bones. Brian says that he doesn't care what his age is now. I'm like, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like when you're a little kid, each age means such a big deal, but the years just take so long. Okay, so now Rory Calhoun, Vincent has popped out of the back room and he's got a chainsaw and he's wearing a giant pig head over his head as a mask. I have no idea how he can see, but visually it looks awesome. So the sheriff has a shotgun and it's this real like kind of Texas chainsaw. Like it feels totally something out of Texas Chainsaw. And this dick sheriff who tried to sexually assault the hero of the movie like 2 seconds into hanging out with her, we're forced to root for him. So now Pighead Man with the chainsaw is getting ready to have a chainsaw fight with the sheriff. This is just some heavy duty 80s horror stuff right here. I guess it's Southern Ohio, as our hospital is called Southern Ohio Medical Center. Well, like I'm from Illinois, like I was born kind of by Chicago, but the people like in Southern Illinois, the farther down you go, they have Southern accents, what I call a Southern accent. They sound way different from the people up north in Chicago. So maybe the folks in the Northern Ohio area that I'm used to, like to me, Hobbs sounds similar voice to me. Like I'm like whatever, our accent is the same. But yeah, your accent always sounds like it sounds Southern to me. I don't know why. Maybe you're just too cool for school. I think that's what I'm going with. Mr. Bones says his favorite voice of ours is Wes. Wes does have a pretty cool voice. Wes got a. If you're not familiar with our friend the Ice Lord, I am the Ice Lord. Wes than Zero. Wes, he has like this real cool, deep voice, and he speaks in a very slow, methodic way. It's super cool. If you're having trouble some night late on a Friday and you're up in the middle of the night, man, be sure to put on the Ninth Circle. Um, Wes is Wes is cool as hell. Um, Bones has had Wes record stuff for videos before. Wes is he does have that cool voiceover voice. I agree. Ryan says that this whole stuff with the chainsaw, and I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, the chainsaw and the pig mask, and just the battle of the chainsaws where they're clanging it together. For a low budget movie that most people think is schlock, this is like some like crazy surreal cinema. Looks like the cover of a heavy metal magazine, like Heavy Metal the cartoon, not Heavy Metal the genre of music. Um, he has a clip at the end of one of our MH intros saying that the following message has been brought to you by the Midnight Hour. Ah, he does. He's good. James Earl Jones voice for that. I agree. Brian loves the sheriff versus Pighead. Yeah, I agree. It's a not particularly a gory movie. Like it's a psychologically disturbing movie. But at this point now, where they're in the slaughterhouse and they're having a sword fight with chainsaws and stuff, it's yeah, it's full on like gore and bones and meat getting cut open and everything. Like they're the sheriff put the chainsaw into the side of Vincent, and Terry's about to be pushed into the deli slicer. She's got like a real James Bond situation going on. She's like on a moving platform taking her towards the deli slicer. So he rescues Terry and they hug. Yeah, she is a total Stockholm syndrome. She's about to make out with him now. She's quit being such a victim, Terry. Have a little self-respect. You have to love yourself before you can love someone else. These are all things that could go in a coffee cup. Um, or on in some words on a wall of a girl who would break up with me after like 4 dates. So here we see Rory Calhoun with the he takes the pig mask off, and we get like this Darth Vader moment, like his humanity is back. He's got the chainsaw dug into his side of his body, and he's just like laying and slowly dying. And he tells Terry and Bruce they can have the hotel in the garden. I'm pretty sure that's how wills work. Like after you've been murdering people and you're laying there with a chainsaw sticking out of you, you can just give your stuff away to people standing around. Don't need a lawyer or nothing. But here they make sure that Rory even says, take care of my animals. You doing a DF with a mountaintop? Um, when's tomorrow? Thursday? 3:30? How long is Mountaintop of Horror? What is it? Let me see. So here, as he's dying, he points out his hatred of preservatives because, of course, there has to be like this comedic ending instead of like a gross, like traumatic ending. It has to be kind of funny. Yeah, I guess I could see how the stuff, because they said the stuff is also like this. I could see that kind of the consumerism of food thing. Um, Mountaintop Hotel Massacres in an hour and 35. Ooh, I don't know, Bones. That's pushing my luck with this weather, man. Last night the stream cut out like 3 or 4 different times. I'm worried that the farther we get to till 4 in the morning, that it's going to the snow is going to really start pelting down on me. But I am tempted. You were swaying me on that one. Bones is trying to talk me into a double feature of a Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Tomorrow is that mate. You better come side us. Oh, tomorrow's the midnight hour. What time does it start at, Bones? Free commercial. Free commercial. So Bruce and Terry go to the secret garden and they realize kind of what's been going on. And yeah, they're just a couple now. Terry, you're very disappointing as a woman. I think you need to go on like a feminist retreat or something. Go live in a wigwam and play the bongos for a little bit. Grow your armpit hair out. You know what I mean? Find yourself. 10. Is that 10 Eastern or 10 Central? And then there's the ending with the big explosion of the Motel Hello sign. And let me go back to dismiss. So they're singing the song, "You're feasting on my better side." Yeah, we see the Motel Hell sign as to wrap up the movie. It's been a minute since I've seen it. I probably saw it last about 5 years ago. It's a fun ride. I enjoy it. It's a deeper cut. Since I did The Shining last night, that's about as big of a movie as you can do. You know, The Godfather, The Shining. You know, so I wanted to do a more deep cut. Got to keep it. Got to keep it real for my homies. Um, but yeah, that's Motel Hell. The Rory Calhoun. What's her name? Mary Parsons. Nancy Parsons. Jesus, I'm drawing a blank. Shows you it is getting late. Vincent was Rory. Bruce was Paul Linke. Ida was Nancy Parsons. Terry was Nina Axelrod. Reverend Billy was Wolfman Jack. Susie was Roseanne Catton. Bo Tolinsky. The twins. Yeah, the twins were Shaylin and Heather Hendrickson. So yeah, they were basically a pretty obvious, I don't know, homage or reference to The Shining, yeah, specifically why what they were wearing. That's one of the many subtle jokes. I think this is probably like a lot of most horror comedy. The first time you watch it, you're just so kind of put off by everything you're seeing that you don't really absorb the humor in it. You know, you kind of look at it as a horror movie and you're waiting to be scared. But then after you watch it 2 or 3 times, then you really see the comedy in it and the dark humor and all the references and things. So like a lot of these classic awesome films, you need to watch it more than once, sadly. But yeah, no, this is my third or fourth time since I was a kid. God knows how many times I watched it when I was a kid, because like I said, it was on when I was way too young to be watching it, so it felt like something dirty. Bone says he sucks at time zones. I suck at time zones too. Okay, now start Martin Dot Massacre now. You almost got me. I was real close. Did you see me looking at the clock and doing the math? I was like, it's an hour and 35 minutes, which means that would be 5 a.m. to wrap it up. So yeah, even I have to tap out at some point. But like I said, it appears I'm getting ready to be kind of snowed in. I might run 1 or 2 errands tomorrow, but I went out today and got provisions so I can hunker down. So there's a chance we're going to probably see another live stream tomorrow. And then Friday, going to be on Rob's Vintage Video. We're going to watch, or we're going to talk about cartoon tapes. He's going to go through some of the tapes in his VHS collection, and we're going to discuss some of the awesome cartoon tapes he has, superheroes and whatnot. So be sure to check out Rob's Vintage Video on Friday at 6 Central, 7 Eastern. I suck at time zones too, Bones. Brian says, fun live stream. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Bones says he's joking. He's about to crash it too, but I'm going to check it out sometime. Like I said, depending on shit, tomorrow I might do 2 or 3 movies. I might be like when Wes was cranking them out during Halloween. You might just turn it on at 2 in the afternoon, and there I am sitting watching Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Yeah, thank you for Brian for dropping by, man. You're awesome. You've been making all of these. I appreciate you a lot, man. And then Bones and Hobbs, those are the fellas. Martin Renner, that's a cool pop in. Anthony Chabot was here, of course. Gareth was here. Video Tasties. Larry, the horror cat dad, was here in our hearts. He always is. As I was saying, Friday I'll be on Rob's Vintage Video, and then Sunday I will be doing something with Larry here on this channel. And then on Tuesday of next week, I'll be with Pugwall 316, and we're going to watch The Carpenter. That'll be a simulcast on both of our channels. So if any of you are a big fan of Wings Hauser, be sure to drop by on Tuesday and check that out. That'll be in the afternoon. So I think there's a good chance I'm going to be streaming somewhere every day for the next 4 or 5 days. So keep your Don radar up and your third eye open. Martin says, thank you. It was fun. I appreciate you, Martin. Yeah, especially with you being in the New Zealand time zone. Anytime you want to drop by, I know you got actual stuff to do during the day, but it's nice having you here. Chabot is the #1 YouTuber. And you know he's on the road to 2K? I don't know if you know that. He's also been working on his memoirs. So there's a lot coming from Anthony. That's what I like about him. Brian says, sounds good. I appreciate you, Brian. I appreciate all of you who dropped by in the chat and said hello. And Echo was here. Mayanne. I knew Mayanne was here. I was drawing a blank. Yeah, Mayanne dropped in early. I'm not sure if she's ever seen Motel Hell. I don't know. We'll have to ask her next time. But it seemed like the consensus vote towards the end was that. Oh, and It's Dark Jim. I couldn't forget Jim. It seems like the consensus vote was that Motel Hell is good, but it was close. It was probably like 3 no's to like 5 yeses, 5 or 6 yeses. So yeah, it's a divisive one, but it's pretty awesome. And so are you, dear viewer, for hanging out and keeping me company in the middle of the night with my weird insomnia issues and my love of horror films. Takes a lot of critters to make my middle of the night fritters. So I'm going to wrap it up here and keep an eye out for me and doing other stuff, and keep an eye out for yourself. Look out for #1. All right. So I'm going to close it out here, wishing you green grass and high tides forever. Goodbye, my friends.